there are three major areas of a contract that you need to pay attention to. And investors are always paying attention to this. The banks are always paying attention to this. The first is risk. If something goes wrong, who will lose more? Risk. If something goes wrong with your business, who will lose more? That's why if you look at any loan agreement, the bank bakes in the collateral. They bake in the collateral. What that means is that in terms of risk, it is lower for the bank. If something goes wrong with your business, you will lose more because the bank will have access to your collateral. So that's what they do with the contract. Risk. The second is power. Who has power to do stuff in this relationship? And that's another reason why investors will say things like, we will need 1 or 2 seats on your board of directors. Or there are certain decisions that you cannot make on your own. For example, you cannot fire your sales director. You cannot take a loan without the consent of the investor. You cannot sell an asset, equipment, without the consent of the investor. You cannot take out profits from your business without the consent of the investor. So you start to see that in terms of power, the power play happens in the contract. They limit what you can do. Even though they don't own majority of the company, they limit your power in the business based on the terms of the contract. But because you are so focused on the money, you are not seeing what is going on in terms of the power. So I mentioned there are 3 things that the contract tries to control. The risk, who loses more if something goes wrong. The power, who has power in terms of certain aspects of the business, in terms of exercising power. The third aspect is money. If your business does very well, who makes more money? And for equity investors, you can imagine the investor will want to minimize their risk, but maximize their return. So if something goes wrong in your business, for an equity deal, they bake in certain guarantees. So for example, the principal the principal amount that the investor gives you, if something goes wrong with your company and your company is about to liquidate, there are certain provisions in there where the investor will get paid first before any other person gets paid.